Located on the north side of Fort Worth, the construction of Texas Motor Speedway began in the spring of 1995 and required the movement of more than 4 million cubic yards of earth before it was completed the following year. The oval originally featured unique dual-angle banking, and its first major race, the NASCAR Xfinity Series event in April of '97, was won by Mark Martin. Jeff Burton won the first Cup Series event the following day in front of a sellout crowd of over 200,000. 2 months later, Kenny Irwin won the first NASCAR Truck Series race held at Texas Motor Speedway. Track has been good to Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's won his first ever Xfinity Series race there in 1998, and then 2 years later, won his first Cup race. Shortly after Junior's Xfinity Series win, the oval was reconfigured, eliminating the 8-degree section of dual-angle banking. Tonight, it's the Texas Motor Speedway 125, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Texas Motor Speedway for Texas Motor Speedway 125. Race details for tonight: 125 laps, the race distance, 68-degree ambient temperature, 60% humidity, partly cloudy skies, somewhat breezy with a 9-mile-per-hour wind, and 70-degree track temperature. Practice just about wrapped up here from the Speedway. Let's go down trackside to see where everyone is lined up. Best time to this point, the 3:15 of Zach Millett with a 29:03. Drew Blaze, second quick, 29:09, and Brian Rose there matching that speed. Same lap time for the 89 of Rose. Just about 7 minutes remain in the practice session. Drivers have a 65% fuel load this evening, and they have 2 sets of tires available over the wall, so 3 for the full race distance if you count the ones they start the race on. 1 fast repair if necessary, and also, if necessary, 2 green-white checkered attempts if it really comes down to it. Again, this league pretty clean. I wouldn't anticipate that being the case, but it's there as a fallback just in case. Qualifying just a handful of minutes away here. It'll be a 10-minute session, 2 laps to get it done. Blaze back in his familiar number 1. Familiar colors on that machine. Though it is a new next-gen Ford Mustang, the Dark Horse as it is called and referred to. Michael Tucker, 9th quick in the session. 29:20 for the 39. He's shown a lot of speed this season. Just hasn't been around for the finishes of these. He's around to finish the race per se, but not up towards the front where he does usually start. The first third of the race, you'll see Michael Tucker battling well within the top 5 in most situations. Just haven't seen a lot of it in the latter stages, as he does tend to burn off the stuff. See if he can temper that aggression here tonight at Texas. Again, we are under the lights, so don't have that hot Texas sun beating down on the racetrack today. See if that helps the 39. 4 minutes left in the session here. We're going to take an opportunity to step out, get a short break out of the way. We'll return for qualifying. Back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh,
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Back at Texas Motor Speedway for the Texas Motor Speedway 125. Practice just about wrapped up as we get ready for qualifying. Again, a 10-minute session. Before we get too deep into that, let's take a look at last week's results. Zach Millett in the standings, 314 points over Drew Blaze's 302. Last week's winner was Zach Millett, then it was Chris Goins, Johnny DePasquale, your top 3. Blaze was 4th, and Sean Roberts 5th. Justin Johnson in that 3rd position in the point standings. Chris Goins, PJ Cox, your top 5. So looks like Randy Coaching going to be the first driver to roll here in qualifying. Got Cody Anderson in the stream chat. What's going on, Cody? T. Mark, Ginger Parrott, Tom Girardelli. I think Matt Crockett in there saying hello as well. Thanks for checking in, guys. Do appreciate that. So Rainey coaching on the clock down into turn number 1. Chastity Tucker saying hello as well. First lap for coaching, provisional pole 29.721. Doesn't last long as Dana Shepard goes to the point on his first lap. It's a 29.54. Jose Luis Rivera goes to the point with a 29.52. See if Shepard improves on his second lap here. Back to the dog leg. Across the stripe. Coaching goes back P1 for a moment, but Shepard takes it back away on the 29.31. So Shepard on the provisional pole for the time being. Drew Blaze, definitely a shot for the pole position here tonight. First lap for Blaze, 12th quick, probably a throwaway. Likely to see a big jump here. Likely a full second of a jump. If he has a clean lap out of this, Drew Blaze falling through the standings for now. Blaze off turn number 4. P2 outside front row for Drew Blaze. Di Pasquale's got the top spot now, 29.18. Michael Tucker at 29.55 on his first lap, just outside the top 10 he sits. About 7 minutes left in the session. Tucker looking smooth off turn 4. Big wiggle at the start-finish, though. Does not improve. Nathan Line, the number 38 from Fueled Up Motorsports. Back to the flag stand, cross the line here for his first lap. 16th quick, 30.031. Matt Crockett helping us out with the fuel window tonight, roughly 40 laps. Heard Nathan lift just a bit on the exit of 4. Still 17th quick is his time. 30.031. Lap 2 invalidated for one reason or another. Dustin Rogerson. Dustin out of New Berlin, Illinois. Big jump, 8th quick, 29.38 for Rogerson, just inside the top 10. Chris Goins on his out lap. Goins in the track bar media machine this week. Goins on the clock. Interestingly enough, Zach Millett has yet to make his Q attempt. He was fastest in the practice. We're about halfway through this qualifying session. Millett does need to start from pit lane for the balance of the season. That's his win penalty after getting 4 wins on the season. $29.62 for Goins. On his first lap, he's 15th. Lap 2 for Gones, 9th quick, 29.395. See if he stays within the top 10. Millet finally on the racetrack here into turns 3 and 4 on lap 1. Fast time right now at 29.18, Johnny DePasquale. Remember, he was third last week. First lap for Millet, 29.71, 17th fast. It's almost a moot point for Millet other than the pit stall selection. He's going to have to start from pit road nevertheless, but having that number 1 pit stall when you're starting from the pits, that's an advantage in itself, so there's still value in qualifying well. Millet back into the dogleg here across the line at the stripe. Second quick, 29.201. Not the pole, but not too shabby. Sits between DePasquale and Drew Blaze. Ryan Rose at 29.90 on his first lap. Deep in the field for now, but off turn number 4. Let's see if he can have a big improvement here. Needs a few tenths at least. 6 quick, 29.289 for Brian Rose. BJ Cox on the racetrack, the 05 Lonestar racing machine. I want to remind everybody we are streaming it in 4K here with HBR TV. If you're on a solid internet connection, feel free to adjust your quality within YouTube to that 4K setting. If it's a little glitchy, maybe dump it down to about 1440, and if it continues, well, down to 1080. As BJ Cox runs a 30.061 on his second lap, 21st on the board. A minute and a half left in the session. Looks like Justin Johnson, the only driver not to make a lap in qualifying to this point. Sean Roberts just getting out of the racetrack here. He may be able to knock both of these laps out. Yeah, he should have plenty of time. Minute and a half to go. Timed it well. Roberts takes the green flag. Leave about 15 seconds on the clock by the time he's done. $29.89 for Roberts on his first lap. We'll stick with him here, see if he can improve. Sean Roberts back to the flag stand here. Let's see if he picked up the pace. He does slightly. 18th quick, 29.638 for Sean Roberts. That's going to settle it. So Johnny DePasquale, very fast in practice, fast last week, fast in qualifying tonight on the pole position. So with that, let's take a look at our starting grid. Of course, on the pole, it is the number 42 of Johnny DePasquale with a lap time of 29.189 seconds. Outside front row, it's the 315 of Zach Millet. Missed it by 12 thousandths of a second. Row number 2, it's the 1 of Drew Blaze with Lonestar Racing. Outside of Drew Blaze is the 80 of Drew Prowl. Starting fifth, John Tiller. The number 27, Brian Rose. The 89 Track Bar Media Machine will start sixth. Dana Shepard, the number 44 with DEP Racing, he'll start seventh. Scott Beardmore will start eighth. Ninth starter, Jose Luis Rivera out of Illinois. 10th is Dustin Rogerson. Chris Goins, the 41, will roll off 11th. Joseph Tucker in the 13 with Hostile Intent Gaming. He starts in the 12th spot. Randy Coaching in the 5 will start 13th. Joe David with Lowline Motorsports. The number 6 machine rolls from the 14th position. Michael Tucker with Right Turn Racing. The 39 starts 15th with Matt Crockett with Rocket Mountain Racing will start 16th. Jesse Redding, the 21, starts 17th. Sean Roberts, 18th. Chris Klein, the number 18 machine out of Numb Thumbs Racing, will start 19th. Jarrett Woodard, the 79 out of Canada, will start 20th. 21st goes to Nathan Line. 22nd, PJ Cox. 23rd, Darren Jones in the 3. Justin Johnson, again, did not take a time in qualifying. He will start last. 24th position here from Texas Motor Speedway. A home race for Justin Johnson. It's your starting grid here from Texas Motor Speedway as the field already starting to grid up. We're ready to go racing here momentarily. Two minutes into our grid. Expect the drivers to roll here momentarily. Looks like Zach Millett late to the party. Which is okay, since he's got to start from the pits anyway. So field begins to roll. The 42, Deep Pasquale, is going to lead him to green. Drew Blaze now will move up a spot. He'll start to the outside of the 42. TJ Lane was to serve a penalty this evening, does not make the field, does not attempt to make the field tonight. So that penalty will, I believe, continue on to the next race that he attends. Jesse Redding also going to have to go to the tail for a penalty that had not been served previously. Now this, starting from pit road penalty for Zach Millett, that is to continue throughout the balance of the season. Once you get to 5 wins,
never mind not going
from pit road every race until this one's over. I think the last race of the season, that might be a different story. I'll have to confirm that later on, but that's the rule as we see it. They're going to go an extra lap here, try to make sure everybody's in the right spot. Again, it is the Texas Motor Speedway 125, race number 6 of the AMCO Transmissions LSR Cup Series. I'm kind of bummed there's no Blaney tonight. Yeah, we were kind of expecting that Blaney would not necessarily make the whole season this year. Work commitment interfering with the race schedule. That's all right. We'll take them when we can get them. So field continues to roll here on the second pace lap. Pace car lights are out, so we expect the green flag to put us underway here from Texas Motor Speedway in about a half a lap. When we get back to start finish, it's going to get a whole lot noisier here in Texas. These cars are going to get loud. Pace car is in, field still at pace speed as they get to the restart zone. Green flag is in the air, and we're racing from Texas Motor Speedway. One car in the wall. I think it was Drew Prail off of turn number 2. Everybody scatters to avoid. Prail's going to lose some track positions, down 10 spots already. Lap 1 in the books. Johnny DePasquale still out in front. John Tiller has jumped into the 2nd position. Drew Blaze slips to 3rd. Again, don't be concerned. Drew Blaze is going to be a major threat here tonight. Usually, Blaze has started towards the rear of the field this season, most of which is by design. It was kind of an intentional thing. You don't see him do a lot of qualifying, but this week, starting towards the front, qualified 3rd, actually started in the outside front row with some of the penalties the drivers had to serve this week. Drew is a master at saving his stuff, making sure there's enough at the end while also staying up into the thick of things in the lead pack. We'll see how that plays out the rest of this race. Plenty of racing to go here. Again, 3 laps in of 125. Johnny DePasquale, your race leader, over John Tiller, Drew Blaze, Dana Shepard, and Jose Luis Rivera. Rivera in the number 8 machine, the Chips Ahoy colors. It's a good-looking paint scheme. Dana Shepard with some new colors this week as well, the number 44. Drew Blaze under pressure now. Dana Shepard trying to take the 3rd spot away. He's to the inside, and he might get clear. He does, down into turns 1 and 2. So move Dana Shepard up 4 spots into P3. And just a handful of laps here from Texas. Rivera now below Drew Blaze. Blaze going to start to slip back a bit. Michael Tucker slid up the racetrack, had to check up to keep off of the door of the 1. Right on board with Michael Tucker, the driver's eye camera. As he gets to the inside of Drew Blaze into the dog leg. Tucker making another move for position. He's the inside of Rivera, gets that spot with ease. Move Tucker up to the 4th spot. Michael is up 11 positions right now. Big time move into the front for the 39 of Mike Tucker. But we've talked about this race after race after race. He fires out of the box like a cannon shot, then slowly falls to the rear, or at least mid-pack as the race progresses. We'll see if he can balance that speed throughout the full run here tonight. Keep telling you guys, this 39 machine is going to park it in victory lane at some point this season. He's got a lot of talent. Dana Shepard making a move here for the 2nd spot. Tiller up the racetrack, the number 27 admin box machine. Shepard and his Chevrolet to the inside. Back to start finish. Tiller in the Dark Horse Mustang. Edging back around on the outside, carrying just a hair more momentum. Still alongside John Tiller. Oh, a little bit of contact off turn number 2 between Tiller and Shepard. Both get away with one, but Tiller might decide here. Yeah, he does. He lets him go. Not worth wadding the car up at 11 laps in. John Tiller back to the third spot. Dana Shepard up to P2. We'll see if he's got anything for Johnny DePasquale. Johnny starting to check out a little bit. He's over half a second in front of the rest of the pack. But Shepard might be cutting into that already. Last lap for Shepard, even though it was within that battle, was a 29.60 versus DePasquale's 29.44. Back to the dogleg and start finish here once again. We'll see where they stack up with a clean lap under the belts. DePasquale with a 29.53 and Shepard a 29.35. He is moving. There's guys that were qualifying that weren't turning laps that fast, and we are 13 laps in. Shepard's in a little bit of traffic with one car up ahead, dirtying up that air. He's got some pace. Michael Tucker now up into the third position. Brian Rose has slipped back a lot of spots here. 12 positions he has shed since the start of this race. Back in the 18th spot, but he's right there with Zach Millett. No, that's not even Zach Millett. Similar color scheme. It's Dustin Rogerson who's there. I don't know if Brian had a problem on the racetrack, but he's lost a lot of ground. Millett, though, remember, he started from pit lane, so green flag came out, field coming up to speed, and he has to go from a stop in his pit box, leave the pits at pit road speed, and then get caught up to the rest of the field. And since then, he's gone from 24th now to 15th, as he takes another position away from Nathan Line. Line battling back on the outside, though. Meanwhile, we're going to have a battle for the race lead here momentarily. DePasquale has cut down into that lead. It's almost 2/10, just a little bit less than 2/10. DePasquale still out in front. Shepard, though, trying to find a way to close that gap and maybe take the race lead away and have himself out in front for a little while. We got Derek Donna says, let's go Shepard. We got Gator Grizzle, Backwoods Mafia. Thanks for checking in, guys. Appreciate that. Still out in front, though, DePasquale. Let's put another 10th on the 44. Again, a lot of that might just be dirty air. DePasquale's got that race lead. No traffic out in front. He gets all the air on the nose of his machine, which means he gets the downforce. It's predictable. It doesn't change. Shepard, however, he's in behind a couple of car lengths. Depending on what line he chooses, that air can be very turbulent. It can be on the nose of the race car, or it can just skip it all together, which is great for straight line speed, but not great for handling. Check on Zach Millett again. He was alongside Nathan Line the last time we checked, but Nathan took that position back. He's put a couple of car lengths between himself and the 315. Jesse Redding working his way. He's still in the 17th spot. No positions gained for the 21 to this point. Checking on Drew Blaze. He's in a bit of a hornet's nest here on the bottom of the racetrack. He's slid back to the 9th position from starting outside front row. Himself in behind Chris Gones. Again, very similar paint scheme with Brian Rose. Track Bar Media sponsorship on board, though Gones is in a Toyota. Rose in the Dark Horse Mustang. Blaze picking up a couple more spots as he gets around Joe Tucker and Gones. Now Blaze back to P7. Derek Donna makes a good point in the chat, says still a lot of racing left, but the 44 and the 42 can hook up together, maybe be able to walk away with it. Both drivers looking fast so far. Well, you're spot on there. Last lap for both drivers within 1/100th of a second of each other. They're moving right along, and they are 0.2 plus faster than third place on back. The only driver out there right now that I think might be close to that is Zach Millett with a 29.79, only about 0.03 off the leaders right now. But Millett mired back in traffic. He's got a lot of work to do. Millett making a pass on Matt Crockett. Crockett up the racetrack. New colors for Matt as well this week. Check on Justin Johnson here. Remember, he opted not to qualify here tonight. Started at the tail of the field in 24th. He's picked up a few spots, currently running 21st, but again, it was still very early here from Texas. Over 100 laps to go. Pit cycle's going to have to work their way through as well, and Justin, he's shown the last handful of races this season that he's a contender. He's been there at the end of these things, in contention in most cases. See if he's got a strategy play that's going to work in his favor here. Again, Texas Motor Speedway, Justin Johnson's home race. Back out front, Di Pasquale starting to gap the 44 just a bit. Shepard, his pace falling off slightly, though he did match the last lap speed with Di Pasquale at 29.97 for both drivers. And in this time, Shepard a tick faster. I stand corrected. They ran identical lap times a second lap around, so 30.05 for the top two. And they continue to stretch out their advantage over everybody else. Jose Luis Rivera back in third, just ahead of John Tiller. Drew Blaze working his way back into that top five. I tell you, you watch Drew Blaze in those first handful of laps, and he free falls through the field just outside the top 10, or in this case, I think it was about 9th. And then he just decides, you know what, I'm going to go work my way back to the front and see what I can do. I think it's almost a practice for Drew Blaze in the early stages of these races. See what you've got. See what the car's capable of. See what you're capable of as a driver. We know Drew's got a lot of experience, but each race is its own worst enemy. You got to go through it, figure out the track, figure out your competition, who's fast where, who's slow there. Take advantage of all those opportunities as they're presented to you. Blaze working on the fourth position. John Tiller. I'm telling you, Blaze is going to be around for this one at the end. I'm sure of it. Drew Prowl running in the 10th position, just ahead of Scott Beardmore. Remember that first lap, Prowl started 4th here today, but first lap got a piece of the outside wall. I think it was off turn number 2. Let's see if we can go back to that here. This is the start of the race. Some 30 laps ago. Watch the 80 machine. He got right behind Drew Blaze. Actually gave the one a bit of a bump coming to the stripe.
Caution.
Meanwhile, we do have a caution. Jose Luis Rivera in trouble, but let's watch this real quickly here. Just got loose on exit. Good job trying to save it, but scrapes the right side. So the 8 of Rivera, I think he was running about 3rd at the time. Let's get a look what happened to the 8 machine. Puts us under caution for the first time tonight. Contact with the 27 of Tiller in the dogleg. Rivera does a good job keeping it off the wall and I think out of traffic. It's a tough spot. back it up a little further here, see if we can get a better look at this. So the 27, that's John Tiller. Rivera was running fourth at the time. This is out of turn number 4. Looks like Tiller gets a big run, and actually there it is. The 8 of Rivera just gets the outside wall. It breaks his momentum enough that Tiller gets into the 8 rather quickly and abruptly. I think it surprised the 27 a bit. But you see the contact, and then the 8 goes around. Still a great job by Rivera to lock it down and not get the wall any harder than he already has and not collect anybody else. So job well done. So pit stops underway here from Texas. Johnny DePasquale is going to lead them down. Everybody and their brother are going to hit pit road tonight. Lap 32. DePasquale looks like he's going to go fuel only. Millett slides into that number 2 pit stall. Fuel only for the 315 as well, and did not take a lot of it. 8.3 seconds in the pit box. Drew Blaze was a 15.07. I don't know if he took tires. I can't imagine that he did. It's awfully early, but it's possible. So that's going to move Zach Millett just outside the top 5 as we get ready for a restart. It's going to be Gones, Dana Shepard, Johnny DePasquale, John Tiller, and Randy Coaching, the top 5. And Gones only took about 8.4 seconds of fuel also versus Dana Shepard and Johnny DePasquale. They went 11 seconds plus. Shepard beats the 42 out of pit lane, so he's going to inherit that second position as we get ready to go back to green. Both the Tuckers and Drew Prowl going to head down pit road one more time. Still working behind the iRacing pace car. Lights are still ablaze here, so we get back to start finish. It'll be lap 34. Anticipate those lights to go out, put us on the 1 to go. So lap 35 should be the restart unless we go an extra lap, which is always possible. Your top 10 is Gones, Shepard, DePasquale, Tiller, Coaching, Zach Millett, Drew Blaze, Jesse Redding, Nathan Line, and Brian Rose. Pit Stop TV jumping in the stream chat says HBR TV1 is number 1. I don't know about that. Maybe a close second to yourself. Andrew Cardinale jumping in and giving us a shout out. Thanks for doing so. Certainly appreciate that. So there it is. The iRacing pace car lights have been extinguished, so we're going to be ready for a restart the next time across start finish. Chris Goins is going to lead them to green over Dana Shepard, Johnny DePasquale, John Tiller, Randy Coaching, Zach Millett, Drew Blaze, Jesse Redding, Nathan Line, and Brian Rose. That's your top 10. 11th will be Chris Klein, Scott Beardmore, Joe David, Dustin Rogerson, Justin Johnson, Jarrett Woodard, Matt Crockett, Joe Tucker, PJ Cox, and Michael Tucker. Then Drew Prowl, Jones, Rivera, Roberts rounding out the field. And we're all on the lead lap still. 34 laps in. We had one driver that was a lap down. I think that was Sean Roberts. Roberts got the lap back with the lucky dog. He was the only car down a lap, so that works out for the 66 machine. So we're doubled back up here, field working through turn 4. You see the pace car takes the hard left to pit road. Barney, the flagman, with the green in hand, just waiting to get her waving.
Green flag.
And there it is, green flag in the air. We're back racing from Texas Motor Speedway. Those of you that might be confused looking at the timing tower, Chris Goins is not in pit lane. He's your race leader, the number 41 Track Bar Media Camry, out in front of this field. Quick refresh here, see if we can correct that. But nevertheless, Goins out in front, battle for the second position. Dana Shepard, Johnny DePasquale. This was the battle for the lead we thought we'd see prior to the caution, but no. Chris Goins with a quick pit stop puts himself out in front of these two as we watch the battle for the second spot. DePasquale, the 42 on the bottom of the racetrack. Shepard up top. Tiller in behind. He's in his own battle with Zach Millett. Second through fifth, fighting it out. Drew Blaze just sitting there drooling, waiting for an opportunity. Side by side for the second spot. Millett gets clear into fourth position. He's going to put the pressure on both of these drivers, the 42 and the 44. Millett thought about going up the cut, but it's too early for moves like that. Stays tucked in behind the 42 of DePasquale as they charge down in turns 1 and 2. Drew Blaze now gets to the outside of Zach Millett. He's going to continue the fight with the 315, but might just say the heck with it and go to the outside. But no, Dana Shepard shuts the door, slows the momentum with a 1 of Drew Blaze. He does get past Zach Millett. Millett hangs there, drives it back to the bottom of the racetrack. DePasquale slides up, gets into the left door of the 1 off turn number 4. Blaze won't need to worry too much about that as he gets clear and up into the third position. I'm not 100% sure if Blaze took tires or didn't. A lot of the drivers went with fuel only for the track position, but I think Blaze may have bolted on a set. That, or he was holding back significantly prior to the pit stop because he's been shot out of a cannon, now all the way into that second position and continuing to get more and closer to Chris Goins. It's a few car lengths off the back bumper of the 41 for the time being, but it will not be long. Side by side down the back straightaway for the race lead. Chris Goins just gives it up. Drew Blaze on a charge. Lap 41, Drew Blaze to the point. First time with the race lead here today. Much more comfortable position for the 1. Meanwhile, Chris Goins, he's going to have to hold off Chris Klein now for the second spot. Goins is there, but Klein is right on the back bumper and takes a look to the inside. Had a run into 3, Goins up the racetrack. Going to have a little bit more speed, a little more momentum out of turn number 4. Klein's going to have to try it again in another corner because back to start-finish, Goins maintains the second spot. Chris Klein got it done in 1 and 2. He's up to the second position. Goins back to third. Millett again starting from pit lane tonight, 42 laps, and it's taken him just that long to get up into the top 4. Now he starts to reel in the 41 of Chris Goins. Further back, the fast guys prior to the pit stop, DePasquale and Shepard, they run 5th and 6th ahead of John Tiller in 7th. Under pressure from the 6 of Joe David. Dana Shepard to the outside. Or maybe it's the other way around. Tiller might be making the move to the bottom on the 44. Three wide for a moment. Way outside the 28 of Scott Beardmore, going high, wide, and handsome, carrying some super speed down the back straightaway. Picked up a spot. Now goes back to the bottom, tucks in behind Joe David. David seems to be on fresh rubber as well as he gets through with ease. Now the battle, Beardmore and Tiller. This for the 7th position. Battle for the race lead. Chris Klein alongside Drew Blaze off turn number 2. Klein drove right up there, and he's alongside Blaze. Heading into turn 3, he may have the top spot. Both drivers seemingly took 4 tires, but Klein really on a fast run here. Takes the top spot, puts a car length and a half, maybe 2 between himself and Drew Blaze. Top 2 have put 2 full seconds on the rest of the field. Certainly the class right now. But again, with fresh tires, it's to be expected. We don't know how long that's going to be the case. Again, these races usually run very clean, so these top 2 drivers are going to have to go 1 pit stop at least without taking tires. Again, we heard earlier in the broadcast, 40 laps the fuel window, roughly. 2 sets of tires available over the wall, so if guys want to try and save a set for late, they're going to need to skip one at one point. And NS Vengeance in the chat. We had Deanne says, let's go Rivera. Tristan Sykes, nobody cares what he has to say. Chris Elliott says, go get him, Holler Boys. Tristan's just mad that it's not dirt. Meanwhile, Millett has jumped up into that 3rd spot, but here comes the 6th. Zach Millett definitely did not take tires. He's still got a little bit of pace in that 315 S4 guy machine, but Joe David, he's been pretty quick here since the restart. Again, bolted on some fresh tires himself, and he's been working his way back through. Started 14th right now. He's in the 4th position. Oh, and Zach Millett loses connection for a moment. That's not something we see very often with the 315. Ironically enough, he did have a very similar issue last night. The Numb Thumbs Racing League at the late model stock at Bristol, just as qualifying was to get underway, he had a full packet loss and dropped out of the session. Was lucky enough to come back in before qualifying ended, put the car on the pole position, and ultimately went on to win the race. But sometimes those internet demons can cost you, and hopefully that's not going to be the case here tonight, because we lost him there for about a 1/3 of a lap. Millett with Beardmore to the inside. Justin Johnson working his way back through. Again, we talked about Justin too early on. Started 24th. Was up to 21st or so prior to the caution. Johnson also took tires during that yellow. He's been working his way back through the field as he's alongside and now past Zach Millett for the 4th position. Tucker and Drew Prail, now they do some battle. Joe on the bottom of the racetrack in the Chastity Tucker Realtor Dark Horse Mustang number 13 gets clear of the 80 of Drew Prail. Michael Tucker is in behind the 80 of Prail. Zach Millett on those older tires, starting to fall back. Now the scenario here with Millett, he can take his 2 sets on the next 2 stops, so he's good to go. He's just got to survive this long run. Still going to be about 20 laps or so before we see these drivers hit pit road if we stay green. It's about, like we said, about a 40-lap run on fuel. Billet now back in the 9th position. Chris Goins is the leader at the restart. He's running back in 10th. Again, neither one of these drivers have changed tires yet in this race, and we're just about halfway. We're getting there. Less than 10 laps. And with that, we're going to take an HBR TV side-by-side break. It'll be a little bit early, but want to make sure that we're back here for the green flag pit stops. So stay with us. We'll be side-by-side. You won't miss a moment of the action. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Texas Motor Speedway, the Texas Motor Speedway 125. Just about halfway here from the Speedway. In fact, just past halfway. Chris Klein still out in front. Drew Blaze running the second spot, right on the tire tracks of the 18. Last lap for Blaze, a 30.10. Klein was a 30.17. I don't know if Blaze is just going to ride contently in behind Klein here for the time being. And Jose Rivera Last car on the lead lap presently. Again, he was involved in that caution, but we got a battle for the lead. For a moment, drivers are going to try and take advantage of the 8 being in the way here. A little bit slower than everybody else. Klein goes through the grass and uses Rivera as a bit of a pick. Looked like he was going to get trapped behind the 8 down into turn 1 and 2, but it looks like Drew Blaze is going to battle back to the inside. Blaze has the run down into turn number 3 and the position. Drew Blaze back to the point, lap 65. Randy coaching in pit lane. Right side tire change for the 5. Sunoco race fuel going in, 4 tire change. For Randy coaching, drops the jack down and away, 15.1 second stop. Meanwhile, Blaze starting to put some distance on Chris Klein. Just rode in the tire tracks for a little while, took care of his stuff, cooled the tires until he was ready to go. Jarrett Woodard, number 79 machine. Jarrett running in the 23rd position. Dana Shepard heads down pit road. Shepard bringing the bounce Camaro to his pit stall. Expecting a 4 tire change out of the 44 as well. Drops the jack and he heads out. A very fast stop, 14.85 seconds for Dana Shepard. Drew Blaze continuing to click off laps faster and faster. He's put a 1.5 seconds roughly on Chris Klein in second as Chris Goins hits pit road. Klein with the Beaver Direct, Beaver Toyota, number 18. And here he comes to pit road. Chris Klein from the second spot locks him up a bit on pit entry. Hopefully he got her mowed down. It's either a late decision or he's getting all he can coming to pit lane. Other drivers to follow: Joe David, Nate, Zach Millett, Brian Rose, Chris Goins, Dustin Rogerson, Jesse Redding, all on pit lane. See the 6 going by on the inside. Fuel only for Chris Klein. Zach Millett pulls into that number 2 pit stall. Let's see if he takes his tires this time. I'm going to bet that he does. There it is, right side's going on. First can of Sunoco racing fuel going into the machine. Crew around to the left. 4 tires and fuel for Zach Millett. Drops the jack, 14.87 the pit stop for the 315. DePasquale and Tiller now, they're going to hit pit road as well. DePasquale came in running in the 9th position. Remember the pole sitter here tonight. Drops the jack and heads on down. 15.28 seconds for the 42. Now, Drew Blaze, remember he took tires on that first pit stop, so I think he's going to run this as far as he can because he's going to have to skip the tires this time, so there's really no advantage to come down sooner. And I anticipate this will be, I don't know. He's got 1 set of tires that he's burned already. They can go about 40 laps on a full load of fuel. We got the restart at about 34, so this could be the very end of the fuel for Drew Blaze. I don't know, maybe he takes tires this time and then goes splash and go at the end, because he'll have to pit with less than 10 laps to go if we stay green all the way to the end. So Blaze on pit road. We're going to find out what his game plan is. Meanwhile, Brian Rose just throws down the fastest lap of the race. He's in the 18th position, but puts down a 29.21, fastest lap in the field thus far. Of course, he just made a pit stop here, about 7 laps to go. Blaze has to back it up, overshoots the box. Right side tires going on. Again, this is likely to be a 4-tire stop in his last set of tires. No, right side's only for Blaze. Calls the audible after he misses the pit box. He spent about the same amount of time. 13.48 seconds was the pit stop. But remember, he overshot the box and had to back her up a bit. So it's just as if he took 4. Just about everybody's going to need to make one more stop to make it to the end if we don't get any more cautions. But it certainly looks like either Blaze is going to plan for a stop and go at the end, just a quick splash, or will he throw that left side set of tires on? Because you can fuel and put tires on at the same time. It may not be any kind of a loss, depending on how long he's got to wait for fuel. We got 303 Colorado in the chat. Albert Anderson says, "What's up, Steve? Great broadcast tonight." Thanks, Albert. Thanks for checking in for sure. As Justin Johnson hits pit road. Justin came in from the 2nd position, is working his way up through the field. Right side tires going on the 10. .3 stop for Justin Johnson. Not sure what caused the extended stay, but he's down and away, back in the field with fresh rubber. We'll see if he can work his way back through the field. And he's at a point now where if he saves fuel and does a good job of it, I don't know, it might be a stretch, but he might be able to make it all the way to the end. That's a pretty tall order, though. He's going to have to save a ton of fuel. We got Gator Grizzle in the chat, says, "Great job, Stevie." I don't know anybody that calls me that, but I'll take it, I guess. Thank you. Interestingly enough, though, Drew Blaze just finishing up his pit stop about 5 laps ago, has maintained the top spot. Again, he took right sides only, so it certainly got him out there a little bit faster than everybody else, even with that small mistake. I'm curious if that was a last-minute decision, the audible, so to speak, to only go rights, or if that was the plan all along. Nevertheless, he's got a 5-second-plus lead over the 18 of Chris Klein. Millett runs 3rd, Chris Goins 4th, and Drew Prowse 5th. Joe Tucker, Michael Tucker, 6th and 7th. Joe David, 8th. Randy Coaching, 9th. Sean Roberts, 10th. Sean Roberts slow on the racetrack. I don't know if he's out of fuel or if he just had a moment on the track. Might have been a moment. He's coming back up to speed. Keep an eye on the 66. He's back in the 17th position. Made his pit stop at lap 59, so roughly lap 100. He'll make his final stop. Be curious to see if he's got tires left. He has to stop for fuel to make it to the end, but if he's got fresh rubber over that wall, he may be a contender before this one's out. Rivera gets to the inside of Crockett in a hurry. Kind of surprised the 15 machine. Jesse Redding's going to close in as well. Crockett made his pit stop lap 50. Redding goes by his pit stop at lap 68. You see the difference, new versus old tires. Meanwhile, out front, Zach Millett has retaken the second position now from Chris Klein. Remember, Zach made his pit stop at lap 69. It's 4 tires in fuel at 1487 was the stop. Drew Blaze 5 laps later was right sides only at 1348. So about a second and a half faster than Millett, but also 2 less tires. But 5 laps later than Millett. So we'll see. It might even be equal by the time it all cycles through. We'll see. That last time by, though, Blaze was about 0.05 faster than Zach Millett. Both drivers moving pretty good, though. 29:45 the last time for Drew Blaze. At 29:27 now for Millett, as he's picked up the pace a bit. Still, Blaze has 8.9 seconds plus on second place. I think it's going to boil down to strategy, unless we get some cautions to bunch everything back up, but I wouldn't count on it. This league is notorious for being very clean. Lots of green flag racing. Not so much in the caution department. Michael Tucker has slipped back to the 12th position. Drew Prail and Joe Tucker hit pit road. And this could put them within their window. This could be the final stop for Joe Tucker. Final stop for Drew Prail. Tucker and Prail both taking 4 tires. Their final set. I would go ahead and make that assumption. Michael Tucker also finishing up his pit stop. He took 4 tires as well. So you've got some different strategies here at Texas right now. We'll see which one becomes the successful one. Right now it seems to be working out okay for Drew Blaze as he maintains a 9 seconds plus advantage over second place Zach Millett. Remember, Blaze ended up starting outside front row. Qualified third, but Millett had to go to the back and start from pit lane here today. He's worked his way up into the second spot ahead of Chris Goins, Chris Klein, and Randy Coaching. Gator Grizzle says, Millett, time to join Backwoods Mafia if you win tonight. Well, he's already under contract, Gator Grizzle. Locked him in a long time ago. Ryan Rose, good recovery. He's back up into the top 10, running in the 8th spot behind John Tiller. Tiller just pushing Di Pasquale through turns 1 and 2. There was no daylight between those 2 bumpers. They work the back straightaway now. Brian Rose is closed in. I don't know if Tiller just got a crazy run that last time a few laps ago where there was contact between himself and the 42, but since then, Di Pasquale has started to pull away from the field, at least pull away from Tiller slightly. Car length or so, certainly a significant difference between the mere millimeters between the two cars just a couple of laps ago. Blaze still out in front over Zach Millett, and that deficit slowly growing. It's 9.6 seconds now. Jarrett Woodard hits pit road for his final stop. 31 laps to go here from Texas Motor Speedway. Drew Blaze still your race leader. Almost 10 seconds the advantage over Zach Millett in the second spot. Millett took 4 tires, Blaze took only 2. Now, the caveat there is Blaze only taking 2. It certainly saved him some time in the pit stop itself, but he did overshoot the box, so he had to back it up into the stall before the crew could pit the car. Still a time advantage, and still a significant one right now on the racetrack. It's almost 10 seconds. We'll see how the tires fall off throughout the course of this run, but we've seen Drew Blaze so many times win a race on a right side tires only pit call. Drew's got pace to begin with, but you throw in the fact he's a very good strategist, but he comes to pit road. He's going to have to make this stop now. We talked about this taking tires during the last pit stop, knowing that he'd need to make one more for fuel before it was over. If he took it to the end of the run, it would have been with about 5-10 laps to go, but he comes a little bit early here. I think he's going to bolt those left side tires on with the fuel, knowing that he's going to have to take X amount of seconds of fuel. It might be the same amount of time to bolt on the lefts. And there you see it, left side tire change. The last can of Sunoco race fuel going into 1. Drew Blaze drops the jack, he's down and away, 8.38 seconds, so exactly that. Left side tire change in fuel is about the same as just fuel. Blaze gets back out there, but now running in the 9th position as Millett has taken over the top spot. Millett again with some connection issues, disappears for a moment, maintaining a 2.4 second advantage over Chris Goins. As Chris Klein now comes to pit road. The other part of this reality here is if I'm Zach Millett, I almost come down right now. Or maybe in a lap or two, but come down right now. Put yourself on a similar strategy with Drew Blaze, except for the fact that Millett, he still has a set of 4 tires over the wall, so he can bolt on 4. Yes, it's more time in the pit box. I don't know. It's a tough call. If it was me, I'm going to take 4. I don't know if that's the winning strategy or not. We'll see what Millett ends up doing, but as it stands now, he stays out on the racetrack. Chris Goins from second. He hits pit road. Right side tire change to start. We'll see if Goins has a set of 4 to work with. And he does. 4 tires and fuel for Chris Goins. He drops the jack, 15.02 seconds. Ryan Rose also in the pits. 4 tires and fuel for the 89 machine. Dana Shepard there as well. He drops the jack, he heads back out. 15.05 for Shepard, 03 for Rose. And here comes Zach Millett. Off turn 4, pulls it down pit road with 25 laps to go. Certainly earlier than he needed to as far as the fuel was concerned, but to take advantage of those 4 fresh Goodyears, now is the time. Millett parks it in his pit box. Right side tire change. Does he go with rights only, or does he put the 4 on anyway? Right side only for Zach Millett. He's down and away, 10.7 seconds, a little bit longer than Drew Blaze's stop, but saves a ton of time in the pits. So Randy coaching to the race lead, maybe an unsafe entrance for coaching as he clips the cone on entry. Drew Blaze, though, off turn number 4. He's going to retake the top spot as coaching's in pit lane, so 23 laps to go. Drew Blaze back to the point. Millett is a ways back. I think it's 12.6 seconds here with 23 laps remaining. I think Blaze has got the strategy nailed here. I think he's got this one in the bag. If we stay green, it's going to be his. Millett second, Gones now up to third. Drew Blaze, he's got some lap traffic to contend with, and they're a bit faster right now on fresh tires. Dana Shepard goes by on the inside. Chris Klein might be challenging to do the same. He just finished up his pit stop, also taking 4 tires. Again, Drew took lefts only. Zach Millett took rights. Again, I don't know if there's enough laps left in this race for it to make a difference, unless we get a caution. Dustin Rogerson having a problem out on the racetrack. We stay under the green flag and he continues on. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of damage, if any, to the number 23 machine. Nathan Lyon's going to pull it to pit lane as well, the 38 machine. Laps to go for Drew Blaze, and the deficit between himself and Zach Millett, well, right about where it was prior to the pit stop starting once again. Blaze was about 10 seconds ahead of the 315, and it's just a hair over 9 seconds presently. Though Millett is running some burner laps, ran a full second faster than Drew Blaze that last time, and with 18 laps to go, if he continues that, he's definitely going to catch Blaze. The problem is maintaining that. Again, Millett did take right sides only versus the left sides only for Blaze. That's going to put Drew at a bit of disadvantage. And there it is again, 8.2 seconds the deficit back to Millett. You got to keep in mind, though, we've watched Drew Blaze throughout all these seasons, this season as well. He's very crafty behind the wheel as far as strategy is concerned. He may just be checking up here, saving everything he can tire-wise, knowing that Millett's probably going to reel him in before this one's all said and done. Millett besting his best lap of the race again, 29.15. Likely faster than where they qualified tonight. 16 laps remaining. Millett now 6.9 seconds back. Seems like an eternity this late in the race. Millett's got to be perfect all the way to the end. Hopefully doesn't burn up his stuff before he gets there. Got to save just enough to do battle with the race leader if you're going to run him down. Got to have a little extra to get the pass completed. We've watched Millett and Blaze battle it out season after season. These two both very quick. Of course, Drew's almost untouchable on dirt, but man, he's really translated his dirt background into some very fast asphalt races. Plenty of wins. 15 to go, Millett within 5 seconds. A lot of lap traffic for the race leader, Drew Blaze. That's certainly not helping things either. Curious to see once he gets clear of this lap traffic, Millett's going to have to contend with it as well. Blaze continues to lead here, 13 laps to go. Deficit back to second place, 3.8 seconds and closing. Closing rapidly. Blaze shedded 2 to 3 tenths, just the exit of turn 2. Was a quicker lap though for Blaze at 29.45, though still 3 tenths slower than Zach Millett. Getting closer and closer, 2.6 seconds. Lap traffic really being a hindrance to Drew Blaze right now. He's got to get clear of these lap cars. They're not doing anything wrong, but they're certainly not making his life easy. Laps to go. Millett now under 2 seconds away. Closing again rapidly through turns 1 and 2. Gains 2, 3, 4 tenths. Now it's a second and a half back to the 3.15. Blaze through turns 3 and 4. Coming to 10 laps to go. Millett's averaging 3/4 of a second a lap quicker every single lap. 10 laps to go. It's just over a second now. And there you see it, Millett in the same frame now. 1 lap car in between, it's the 23. Dustin Rogerson. Half a second now. Millett looking to the outside of the 23 machine of Rogerson. He's going to have to go the long way around. Rogerson slips off the bottom just a little bit. That's all right, though. Opens the door. Millett with a huge run off turn number 2. He's there, right to the back bumper of Drew Blaze. Makes a dive to the inside, but Blaze shuts the door. Coming to 8 laps to go. Millett's got time. He doesn't need to force the issue too hard. On board with Drew Blaze, trying to hold off Zach Millett and win this race. He even grabbed a gear into turn number 1. Blaze is starting to shift a bit. That's going to help him on exit. Millett must have made the pass on the outside. We missed it completely, but we'll go back and look at it really quickly. Here it is, the pass for the race lead. We thought we were going to catch it with the onboard, but Millett went around the outside, carried the momentum down into turn number 1, got alongside Drew Blaze way up the racetrack. Just powered on by the high side, exited turn number 2, and he's just got to keep going. Trick with that, don't look back. Millett now with a 1.5 second advantage over Drew Blaze. Chris Goins back in the 3rd position, still about 6 seconds behind Drew. Pole sitter Deep Pasquale in 4th, and John Tiller running in 5th. Joe Tucker, Drew Prell, Brian Rose, Dana Shepard, Mike Tucker, the top 10. .38 and Nathan Line making short work of Zach Millett, likely on fresher tires. Line just getting a lap back. Scott Beardmore trying to stay on the lead lap in 15th. 3.5 laps to go from Texas Motor Speedway. Zach Millett back to the race lead now, puts 2 seconds on Drew Blaze. Not that we want to wish for a caution when these races are usually so clean, but a caution would certainly change a lot, wouldn't it? Millett doesn't have any tires left. Blaze doesn't have tires left. I don't know where Goins is in that respect. There's not a ton of cars on the lead lap, only 14 for now. Millett continues to lead, settles down a bit, still about 0.4 a lap faster than Blaze, so he's still running some quick times. As far as overall tire wear is concerned, both him and Blaze pretty similar in that effect, but Millett has the fresher right sides, and obviously that's where the car is leaning over. All those G-forces are going on the right side tires more than the lefts. Clearly, very much so, more important than the lefts. Seemed like a really good strategy. Blaze was in a great position, and this race was just about 10 laps shorter. It would have been absolute brilliance. Just didn't pay off. Blaze doing a good job, though, still hanging on to that second spot as the white flag waves. Final lap here from Texas Motor Speedway. Zach Millett started from pit lane, dead last. 24th, couldn't even turn on the pace laps here. Had to go out stone cold as the green came out. Worked his way through the field. It was about 40 laps before he cracked the top 10 through pit strategy. And then raw pace in the closing laps here at Texas Motor Speedway. Off turn number 4, Zach Millett's going to win the Texas Speedway 125. Drew Blaze will finish in the second spot with Chris Goins rounding out the top 3. John DePasquale and John Tiller wrapping up the top 5. Brian Rose was 6th. Joe Tucker 7th. Dana Shepard 8th. Drew Prell 9th. Jesse Redding comes home in 10th. Chris Goins coming in, giving his congratulations to Zach Millett. Millett wrapping up his donuts here on the front stretch. Parks it alongside the rest of the top 3. What a race. Very clean. What a run by Zach Millett to reel in Drew Blaze. A tough second place for him, but still a great race. We'll step aside here, get a break out of the way. Back with our top 3 after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I need to cut across 8 lane. None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody
Back to Texas Motor Speedway. Race number 6 of the AAMCO Transmissions LSR Cup Series is in the books. Zach Millett with another race win. This one he certainly had to earn as he had to fight back through the field and reel in Drew Blaze and then eventually pass him for that race lead. We'll get a word with the driver of the 315, Zach Millett here, our race winner from Texas. Zach, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got me?
Hey, Steve, got a copy.
Zach, congratulations, man. A strong run, a strong win. Had to start from pit lane, so you had a lot of adversity to overcome. Put the car in the outside front row in qualifying, which was beneficial at least for that better pit stall. But walk us through the initial start, and then the strategy throughout the race, and then that final run when you reeled in Drew Blaze, took the race lead, and eventually the race win.
Man, I don't know. I'm still out of breath from it. The start of the race was something. You know, I didn't have any draft. It took me a long time to get to the end of that field. Once I got kind of near some cars, it was kind of easy to, kind of pull through them a little bit. But yeah, for a while I was running by myself, just trying to catch anybody. And I got to give a shout out to these HBR guys. I mean, the strategy, the help throughout the race, I mean, it's awesome. Chris Goins had the idea of taking 2 at the end there just to gain some time that we lost in that middle stint by not taking tires. And I got a feel for Chris. He came down pit road and it auto-checked 4 on him again, so he got screwed into taking 4 while I took the 2 like he planned. So he would have been up here battling with me right till the bitter end, but yeah, hell of a race, man. I looked after I took those 2 tires and saw that I was behind Drew like, almost 13 seconds. I couldn't believe it. I thought he had it in the bag. So I think I held my breath for about 15 laps trying to catch him. It was crazy.
Well, the second to last pit stop for Drew Blaze, he did bolt right sides only on versus your 4, but then the final pit stop, obviously you took right sides, but he used the last set of tires, the lefts, when he made his pit stop because it wasn't really a loss to take those lefts with the fuel. It was only about an 8-second stop. But you having the right sides being fresh, personally, I think that's probably the difference maker. You had a little more grip on the right side of the race car. That's likely what led to you being able to reel him in the way that you had. Also, we did see a bit of a mistake on one of those pit stops with Drew Blaze. He overshot the pit box, had to back it up just a bit, cost him a second or 2, but nevertheless, still only a 13-second stop. But might have been the difference maker. Who knows? Certainly, we didn't have any cautions to worry about either. And man, walking that through, reeling him in the last 20 laps, that was a sight to see. And then once you got by, obviously, you're able to check out. The new tire is the big advantage.
Yeah. Chris Elliott tells me that I should definitely watch the broadcast and watch that last pass when I was going around Drew. He says I can't wait to see it.
Well, so it's funny, too, because we were watching Drew's onboard camera on the driver's door, thinking you were going to go to the inside, and then I got off that camera and looked, and all of a sudden you were in the race lead, so we missed it entirely, but we did go back and watch the pass, so it was not missed by all. We still were able to air that. But Zach, again, congratulations, a strong run here tonight at Texas. Next week, we go to a place that you're just not a big fan of. It's going to be, I think, Daytona International Speedway. Back on the Super Speedway, with these cars or any car, it's a challenge. A lot of times it's kind of an equalizer. But how do you feel about your shot to go another race win on the Super Speedway Daytona next week?
I don't know. I don't see it. I definitely don't see it being Daytona. If I can be lucky and catch a caution before I go a lap down, or even if I go a lap down and stay the lucky dog and just kind of have a chance to kind of run with the pack a little bit, at least it'll give us a chance. That's kind of all I'm hoping for. I don't know. We got great teammates here, so if we can link up and make a run towards the front, I feel real good about it. But yeah, we'll see. Daytona's Daytona.
Certainly looking forward to it. Daytona is a fun race to call, certainly no matter what kind of cars we're running out there. We wish you the best of luck. Zach, who do you want to thank before we let you get out of here?
Steve, I got to thank you and HBR TV for the broadcast. HBRTV1.com, HBRShops.com, Track Bar Media, Brian Rose, Castle Products, Brandon Minnick Trailers, big thanks to him for sponsoring us this season. LSR, all the admins behind it, everything they do for us to come and have fun every week. Again, all my great teammates over at HBR, man, just the best group to race with. I look forward to it every race. Martin Sports, all the viewers watching on YouTube right now, all the viewers in my Twitch right now, big thanks to you guys. And shoot me a follow over on Twitch and YouTube at That Is 4Guy.
Zach Millett, again, congratulations. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week at Daytona.
Thanks, man.
Zach Millett, your race winner. Next, we're going to talk to Drew Blaze. Thought he had this one in the bag. Thought he had the strategy all worked out. Just wasn't quite enough. Still a second-place finish for Drew Blaze. A strong run nonetheless. Drew, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
Drew, congratulations, man. I know this one's probably a bitter one to swallow. I thought you had this thing figured out, starting towards the front like you usually do not. A lot of times we see you start at the back and then quietly work your way through the field. We thought you were a shoe-in tonight. It was close. It was just that final pit stop strategy, I think, that might have bit you in the end. Walk us through the mindset, the game plan. Was that the plan coming into this evening, to pit the car the way that you did?
It definitely was not the game plan, but I was just it was on the fly for sure. We pit there on that caution around lap 30, and we took a chance and took tires and ran the thing out of fuel to the next pit stop, and we took right sides only, and it was going to be interesting. I'm very, usually conservative with my tires. I will not use them if I have to, but I don't know. And then the last pit stop, I took left sides only, and I think that's really where I went wrong. But I wanted to try it, so a learning race for me for sure.
So you say the left sides was kind of the wrong call. Is it because of a handling issue that it was the wrong call, or just extended time in the pit lane? I know it was only about an 8-second stop.
Yeah, between the extended pit time, I could have cut a few seconds out of there if I hadn't done that, and it was also handling. It started to really push pretty bad. I thought it would, I figured it would push until I got the tires warmed up, and then it would kind of loosen up again, but it never really quite loosened up, and it was just kind of a dump truck there at the end. But we tried something new, and instead of hanging back and being so conservative all the time, and trying different things from week to week.
Well, it's certainly paying off. Still a strong points night for you. I know that's not what you're looking for. You want to get some race wins, with Millett locking in his 5th race win of the season already. But another opportunity rolling into Daytona next week. Again, that's kind of an equalizer. How do we feel about our chances next week to actually get that race win at Daytona?
Well, not too confident. Super Speedways I usually have pretty bad look at. But, we got a good group of guys here, and I'm sure we won't see as many wrecks as I normally experience in Super Speedway races. So, but yeah, I'm just excited to get out there and race with these guys. They're a fantastic group, and we only had one caution tonight, so definitely shout out to them. It's great race put on by them.
Awesome job by the whole field, really. You guys have been doing a great job as of late. Definitely the cleanest league that I broadcast for each and every week. That's always fun to see. Drew, congratulations again on a nice runner-up finish here at Texas. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Just got to thank Lonestar Racing, PJ Cox, No Limit, Dave Coburn. We got a bunch of new sponsors here this season. So we got Ken's, Satellite and Potable Water Hauling, Reco Performance, LSR Gaming X, Amco Transmissions and Civil Care. All my guys over on the team again. It's just a great group of guys. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And thank you, Steve, for putting on the broadcast and everybody out there watching.
Happy to do it, Drew. Thanks for the kind words, man. Congratulations once again. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck next week at Daytona.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Drew Blaze, your runner-up here at Texas. Next, we're going to talk to our 3rd-place finisher with a new paint scheme this week. It's Chris Goins, driver of the number 41 machine. Switched over to the Toyota Camry this week with some new colors. Drew? I just got done with Drew. It's Chris. Chris, it's Steve in the HPR TV booth. How are you?
I'm good, Steve. How are you?
Let me turn you up here a bit so we can hear you. You got us still?
I think so.
There we go. That'll work. All right. So a third place finish. You started 8, 9, 10, 11th position here tonight. So a strong run to make your way back through into the third place finishing position. Millet had mentioned that you had made a suggestion there late to go with the 2 tires. Try that strategy. But walk us through what happened when you tried the same strategy on your final pit stop.
Yeah, I when we were doing that middle run there, after we'd taken the first set, I said, we're not going to have to take much fuel to make it to the end. So let's see if we can slap on 2 right sides and make up some time on Drew, because I knew he wasn't going to take any tires, or if best case scenario, he was going to take 2 because I knew he'd already taken both right sides. So, it was one of those things where I was going to come in, take about 5.5 gallons, right sides, be done in, 7 seconds or so, and just completely missed unchecking the left sides. And by the time I could get to him, crew was already running around to the other side to get him started. So to end up a 13-second pit stop, just waiting on tires, fuel was done in about 6. So, but oh well, we'll take the third.
Tough break, but yeah, still a strong finish. Again, a good points night. You guys are up there in that top 5 in that conversation. We'll see what happens next week out at Daytona. You typically run well on the super speedways. That's kind of an opportunity for you, I think. How do you feel about a chance next week at maybe winning that race?
I don't know. I usually run really well until the last lap. So, which leads me to really hate super speedway racing. But if we can get the luck on our side next week, I think we have a good shot at another good finish. I know Zach's got to start from the pits, so I know he's got a kind of a tall task behind him, especially in the draft and stuff. So if we can get him caught back up and we can work together as a team, to try and get up towards the front, that would be ideal.
Well, we certainly look forward to it, Chris. Again, congratulations on a solid third place finish here at Texas Motor Speedway. Who do you want to shout out to before I let you get out of here?
I want to shout out the teammates over at HBR, Zach, Brian, and Jesse in here. I think those guys, we all finished in the top 10, so we'll consider that a really good night for HBR. But Trek Bar Media, Popple, Castle Products, Eric Dotson Agency, HBRshops.com, LSR for putting the league on. Obviously, you over at HBR TV for broadcasting these. It's always fun to go back and take a look and see where I screwed up and let Millet buy me and didn't hold him up enough. But we just see what happens next week at Daytona.
All right, Chris. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week, and have a good rest of your night.
Hey, you too, Steve. Thanks.
It's Chris Goins, your third place finisher here from Texas Motor Speedway. As we look forward to Daytona next week, let's take a look here at our race results. Of course, we talked to our top 3. It was Zach Millet, Drew Blaze, Chris Goins. 4th was Johnny DePasquale, the pole sitter here this evening. 5th place finisher was John Tiller. 6th went to Brian Rose. Again, it seems to be the never-ending position for Brian Rose to finish. I feel like he's finished 6th every race he's been in this week. Joe Tucker was 7th. Dana Shepard was 8th. Drew Prale finished in the 9th spot. Jesse Redding came home with the top 10. Chris Klein was 11th. PJ Cox was 12th. Jarrett Woodard came home in the 13th spot. Michael Tucker, 14th. Scott Beardmore was 15th. 16th place went to Sean Roberts. Matt Crockett finished in the 17th spot. 18th was Nathan Line. 19th finisher Justin Johnson. Jose Luis Rivera never really recovered from his issue. He was in the top 5 when he had a spin off a turn number 4, I believe it was, into the dog leg. Finishes 20th. Darren Jones was 21st. Dustin Rogerson finishes 22nd. Randy Coaching 23rd. And Joe David 24th, 31 laps down. Thank you guys all for tuning in, of course, each and every week here in the LSR Cup Series presented by AMCO Transmissions. We got more racing coming up. We've got, we're actually not racing Sunday for Super Bowl, but we've got races Monday, we've got Wednesday, and we've got Thursday, of course, once again at Daytona for the LSR Cup Series. Check us out, hbrtv1.com. Click the live tab for today's races. Whatever's live that evening should be up, at least posted at the latest early in the afternoon, unless I completely drop the ball and forget it. If you haven't already liked the stream and you watched it here tonight and you like what you saw, please go ahead and click that like button. It really does help us, not just the channel, but it also helps the league that you're trying to support. Gets the the videos out into some wider audiences, some fresh eyeballs, get to see what's going on, see this really clean racing league that they've got going on here. It's just been a blast to cover, and guys should certainly be itching to try and get out here and race with this crew. It's going to wrap it up for us here at HBR TV, though. I'm Steve Singer, congratulating Zach Millett on his 5th win of the season. Thanks for watching, everybody. You guys have a good night.